So I'm going to show you how I repaired my roof instead of replacing the whole thing and spending maybe $10,000. I did this over the course of 10 years. There's primer and mineral spirits I used, and some other buckets of cement and things you'll see to glue stuff together. And then I used this brush to get it in, and these pieces of roofing insulation, and also this other membrane that I got to lay over it in strips that you don't see in these photos, but it's all there holding it together. What I did was I went to the commercial roofing supply store, not the retail one, and asked them a bunch of questions. And that's where I got the idea on building up. There was a big pond in the back of my roof from, it's 100 years old. It fell in the middle over time. And that would wash all the water down the middle and over into the other roof down in the winter, would create all these icicles over top my back door, which I use as my primary door. And then the steps were always frozen and it was horrible. So I put this diverter in, which was just a board, but I still had a lot of ponding. You can see that whole back area is there was just a big pond there, and it was eating away at the roof. If you have standing water on a roof more than a day or two after a rain, it'll just eat apart your roof. So those were my two challenges: getting the water off to the side and filling in that pond so that it dries. And when I was finished, my roof would dry in a few hours, which is really good. And you can see here how I would go up on the roof when it was raining and study how the water flowed and where the ponds were, and then I would cut the insulation exactly like the shape of that to fill it in. And I would have sometimes 2 or 3 layers of that insulation, and then in between there would be the membrane strips, and then more of the primer and the cement. The cement was stickier, the primer was not as sticky, and the primer I would mix with mineral spirits. So I just kept building that up over time. I joined a DIY roofing forum online and showed them my ponding and what I had done with this board, because that board was just like glued in there with a bucket of asphalt from Home Depot when I first did it. And they said, that'll never work, it'll never hold up, and you can try filling in your ponds with that insulation, but you'll always have a pond, even in back of wherever you fill in. Well, I don't. So I'm really glad that I kept going and thought it might work, because it did. And I didn't have a real giant roof renovation with trash in my yard all over and lots of expense. I couldn't even afford it back then to do it, so I just kept doing whatever I could, and I'm glad I did. It was one of those things where it was like the roof over your head. It was a point of stress in my life, and didn't want to have a leak, and just wanted to get it done myself. It was a challenge, a really big challenge in my life. Sounds funny to say it, but it was. And so glad I pushed through. And these are the last couple pictures of the first phase, which was like 10 years ago. And then coming up, you'll see from last year, starting last year. This is the before. Go close. So I'm just showing you here a lot of pictures of the detail of how chippy and falling apart and moldy it all was. And that's all a problem. Any roofer would say, replace this roof. And they'd be right. Mostly. For most people. I'm just showing you, if you don't have money for a new roof or don't want to spend that money and you like doing things yourself, what you could do instead of footing that bill and ending up maybe with the same pond. This is what it looks like with all the mold that accumulates over 10 years. And then after I scrub, it's all clean, shiny, beautiful. I did all that so far. This is what I'm doing. Put a half a box of borax in a bucket, then hot water. Then I pour that into this and I sprinkle it on, scrub it with that scrub brush. It takes a lot of work. It's good hard work. These are the two products I'm going to use. This is TriBuilt. I've used this brand before, but in an asphalt. All their products were really good. I used several products. And I used other ones that were not good years before that. So this one's the base, 983. That's like a primer. It's very sticky, like glue almost. And they're both really thick, I heard. It's all on YouTube. And this is the silicone 985. This one was about 150, and this one was about 420 with tax, maybe 160 with tax for that one. I think they're going to be really great. I think it has a 10-year warranty or something like that. Lifetime, it says. I don't know how that works. This is the 983 primer. The next day, this was put on midday yesterday. It's still very sticky. You can hear my feet. It's like a pool liner. Smells like pool liner. It's probably the same thing. Liquid pool liner. I covered these things too because they were starting to get a little rusty. So that's cool, because I would never do that with the asphalt stuff. It would just not be flexible enough. I think this is going to turn out really good. One big benefit to this silicone is that unlike the asphalt would go right through the mask and give you this big headache and was terrible smelling. This silicone I did not even smell through the mask, and even with the mask off it's not any worse than latex paint. This is after the first coat of the white was drying for 2 days, and I was just checking out how thick it was. It's really thick, and I put a second coat of white on top of what you see here. That's what you
This
see
is
next.
just
There
after
you
the
go.
second coat of the top coat. 1 coat primer, 2 coats top coat. Really nice, really thick, beautiful. That's what it used to look like. There's the primer dry. It's looking good. Now the top coat. Here's how it looks 2 days after the last coat of this last part. Looks really good. You can kind of see it in the sun here. It's a really thick coating of silicone. It's just awesome. Here's some more close-ups. Really happy about it. And I never had to have my roof replaced. I just coated it right and got rid of the ponding. There was a big ponding here, and they said I could never get rid of it, but it dries in hours after a rain. And this will last indefinitely. I just need to keep up with this. Coating is easy to do now. So very happy about this. Very super happy.